dictatorial or not, as far preferable to an unstable regime that might side with the Soviets. Even after the collapse of the Soviet Union, US dollars and military assistance continue to flow to Arab regimes cited by human rights monitors for violations of human rights or lack of democracy, including Saudi Arabia, where a Wahhabi regime limits women's rights, Iraq, which violated human rights severely, Turkey, which has suppressed the movement for Kurdish autonomy, Israel, which doesn't enforce equal rights for its Arab citizens, and the Egyptian government of Hosni Mubarak, where an Egyptian American was jailed for encouraging voter participation. The US also supported the military coups in Tunisia to depose President Bourguiba, and in Algeria when the Islamists appeared close to winning a national election and won fairly. Recently, the US supported transfer of power in Syria from the late Hafez al-Assad to his son, despite Syria's supposedly republican form of government. All these American hypocrisy are for oil fields. Since Standard Oil's 1936 discovery of massive oil deposits in Saudi Arabia, ensuring access to the region's fossil fuels has been paramount on America's foreign policy agenda. The 1973-74 OPEC oil boycott and the invasion of Kuwait in 1990 are both dramatic examples of how regional forces have challenged US access to fuel. The 1973 boycott was particularly dangerous at the time. Arab nations supplied 37% of the oil consumed by the non-communist world. To this day, ensuring the supply of oil from the region weighs heavily on the development of US foreign policy in the Middle East. Thus, US became the most aggressive imperialist force within the globe. Israel became its strategic partner. Oppression continues, so does the resistance. History could be very much helpful to understand the rise of the evil imperialist force. Now, a rough sketch of US false policy in the Middle East and the upsurges against warmonger US-Israel pact around the world in the last 50 years will be presented. In 1947-48, UN votes to partition Palestine into two states, one for Jews and one for the Palestinian Arabs. 300,000 Palestinians were forced to flee Jewish-controlled areas. Jewish forces prevail, declaring Israeli independence. The US recognizes Israel. 1953, CIA helps Iran's military coup, deposing elected Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh, whom US sees as communist threat. The US installs Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi as ruler of Iran. In 1956, Israel attacks Egypt for control of Suez Canal. Britain and France veto US-sponsored UN resolution calling for halt to military action. British forces attack Egypt. 1966. US sells its first jet bombers to Israel, breaking with the 1956 decision not to sell arms to the Jewish state. 1967, Six-Day War. Israel launches preemptive strike against Arab neighbors, capturing Jerusalem, the Sinai Peninsula, the Gaza Strip, and the Golan Heights. Kuwait and Iraq cut oil supplies to US. UN adopts Resolution 242, calling on Israel to withdraw from captured territory. Israel refuses. 1968. first major hijacking by Arab militants occurs on El Al flight from Rome to Tel Aviv, marking decades of hostage-takings, hijackings and assassinations as a strategy by Arab militant groups. 1969. Muammar Gaddafi comes to power in Libya and orders US Air Force to evacuate Tripoli. 1972. 8 Palestinian commandos of Black September kill 11 Israeli athletes at the Munich Olympic Games. 1973. Egypt and Syria attack Israel to free Golan Heights and the Sinai Peninsula. The US gives $2.2 billion in emergency aid to Israel, turning tide of battle to Israel's favor. Arab states cut US oil shipments. 1974. UN General Assembly recognizes right of Palestinians to independence with American support. But in 1976, the UN votes on a resolution accusing Israel of war crimes in occupied territories. US casts lone no vote. US Ambassador to Lebanon, Francis Meloy, and an advisor are shot to death in Beirut. The US closes embassy there. 1978. Egypt and Israel sign US-brokered Camp David peace treaty. 18 Arab countries impose an economic boycott on Egypt. Egyptian President Anwar Sadat and Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin receive the Nobel Peace Prize. 1979. Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini leads the grassroots Islamic revolution in Iran, deriding the US as the Great Satan. Iranian students storm US embassy in Tehran, taking 66 Americans hostage for the next 15 months. The US imposes sanctions. Protesters attack US embassies in Libya and Pakistan. 1981. Israel bombs Iraqi nuclear reactor. Muslim militants opposed to Egypt's peace treaty with Israel assassinate Egyptian President Sadat. 1982. Israel invades Lebanon to expel the Palestine Liberation Organization, facilitate election of friendly government, and form 25-mile security zone along Israel's border. Defense Minister Ariel Sharon permits Lebanese Christian militia to enter the Sabra and Shatila refugee camps outside Beirut. The ensuing three-day massacre kills 600 or more civilian refugees. The US and other nations deploy peacekeeping troops in Lebanon. 1983. A truck bomb explodes in US Marines barracks in Beirut, Lebanon, killing 241 soldiers and causing withdrawal of US forces. 1986. US bombs Libya in retaliation for the bombing of a Berlin nightclub frequented by US servicemen. The airstrike kills 15 people, including the infant daughter of leader Muammar Gaddafi.
Today, we have done what we had to do. If necessary, we shall do it again. It gives me no pleasure to say that, and I wish it were otherwise. When our citizens are abused or attacked anywhere in the world on the direct orders of a hostile regime, we will respond so long as I'm in this Oval Office.
All Arab nations condemn the attack.
Despite our repeated warnings, Gaddafi continued his reckless policy of intimidation, his relentless pursuit of terror. He counted on America to be passive. He counted wrong.
(1987) Start of the Palestinian Intifada or uprising in the West Bank and Gaza Strip. 1990, Iraq invades Kuwait. Saddam Hussein links pullout to Israel's withdrawal from occupied territories. UN imposes sanctions that continue to hobble Iraq's economy in effort to force Iraqi compliance with weapons resolutions. 1991, US coalition launches attacks against Iraq from Saudi Arabia. Gulf War ends after some 3 months, but US deployment continues with 17,000 to 24,000 US troops in region. 1993, World Trade Center in New York is bombed, killing 6. US Special Forces deployed as peacekeepers in Somalia attempt to capture warlord Muhammad Farah Aidid. 18 US servicemen are killed. Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin and Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat sign historic peace declaration in White House ceremony with President Clinton. 1994, Jordan and Israel signed peace treaty. Yasser Arafat, Yitzhak Rabin and Foreign Minister Shimon Peres received Nobel Peace Prize for 1993 agreement. 1995, US announces trade ban against Iran, reinforcing sanctions in effect since 1979. Rabin is assassinated 2 years after peace deal with Palestinians. In Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, a car bomb explodes outside an office housing US military personnel. 7 are killed, including 5 Americans. 3 Islamist groups claim responsibility. 1996, a truck bomb explodes outside a US military barrack in Khobar, Saudi Arabia, killing 19 US airmen. UN reports that sanctions cause 4,500 Iraqi children under 5 to die each month. 1997, Egyptian Islamic group massacres 62 people, mostly foreign tourists in Luxor, Egypt. The group claims it is retaliation for US imprisonment of Sheikh Omar Abdul Al-Rahman, who is later convicted in 1993 World Trade Center bombing. 1998, bombs explode outside US embassies in Kenya and Tanzania, killing 224 people.
Most of the victims worked in this building next to the American embassy. Many were maimed for life.
US launches cruise missile attacks on sites in Sudan and Afghanistan, allegedly linked to Osama bin Laden. US indicts bin Laden for committing acts of terrorism against Americans abroad. 1999, Islamic militants traced to bin Laden are arrested for plot to bomb tourist sites during Millennium celebrations. 2000, Camp David negotiations fail. Sharon visits Temple Mount in Jerusalem, sparking current Palestinian uprising, Intifada. 2001, hijackers crash 2 planes into World Trade Center in New York, 1 into Pentagon and 1 in Pennsylvania. More than 7,000 people are dead or missing. The US blames Al-Qaeda and invades Afghanistan. 2003, the US invades Iraq on the false pretext of weapons of mass destruction and fails to prove it after occupying the country. But Saddam got support from them during Iraq's war against Iran. US also initiated conflicts between Kurd and Shia communities. They remained indifferent to the Al-Baza massacre yet. Saddam is hanged for that same incident. the case of Israel, America is blind. America keeps ignoring Israel's unjust atrocities on the Palestinians like persistent bombing, killing of civilians and children protesters. This year, Israel laid siege on the Hamas-led Gaza Strip. On the 17th of June, Egypt brokered a 6-month truce between Hamas and Israel. As proved retrospectively, this truce is a fragile one, like similar treaties in the past. And while Hamas declares the truce agreement on 17th, Israel says that they have not agreed yet and has to check the details as an Israeli envoy leaves for Cairo. Today, Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert announces acceptance of the truce that is to be in force from the 19th of June. But Israel carries out airstrike in the Gaza Strip on the 17th, killing 5 Palestinians. This is the summary of injustice and false policies in the last 60 years. World became heated on that course. America and Israel are solely responsible for the situation. Mocking everyone, Israel became a nuke state. But ironically enough, Israel has never officially admitted being a nuke state, although evidence and expert reports proved otherwise. International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA, Director General Mohammad El-Baradei regards Israel as a state possessing nuclear weapons. Yet, this only nuke in the Middle East maintains a policy of nuclear ambiguity or nuclear opacity. Just 1 year after 1948, Israel secretly began building a nuclear reactor with French support and a reprocessing plant in the late 1950s. Although Israel first built a nuclear weapon in 1967-68, it was not publicly confirmed from the inside until a former Israeli nuclear technician revealed details of the program to the British press in 1986. However, back in 1960, the Israeli nuclear program was first revealed publicly on 13 December in a small-time article, which said that a non-communist, non-NATO country had made an atomic development. On December 16th, the Daily Express revealed this country to be Israel. And on December 18, US Atomic Energy Commission Chairman John McCone appeared on Meet the Press to officially confirm the Israeli construction of a nuclear reactor and announced his resignation. The following day, the New York Times, with the help of McCone, revealed that France was assisting Israel. The first public revelation of Israel's nuclear capability came from NBC News, which reported in January 1969. This was initially dismissed by Israeli and US officials, as well as in an article in the New York Times.
הכור הזה גילה בענונו מייצר 40 קילוגרם פלוטוניום לשנה, כמות מספקת לייצר 10 פצצות גרעיניות בשנה. אבל נמשיך בסיור. צמוד אל הכור מכון 3. כאן מייצרים את מוטות הדלק שמניע את הכור וגם ליתיום 6, מרכיב נוסף של הפצצה. זה מכון 5. כאן מצפים את מוטות הדלק של הכור באלומיניום. מכון 6 הוא תחנת הכוח, מספק את החשמל. במכון 8 המעבדה ובתוכה סוד נוסף שחשף וענונו, כאן מייצרת ישראל אורניום מועשר, שכמו פלוטוניום יכול לשמש חומר בקיע לפצצה. את האורניום מייצרים כאן בצנטריפוגות גז, ממש כמו שמנסים עכשיו האיראנים לייצר. לפי גודלו של הבניין נראה שכמות האורניום שנוצרת כאן לא משמעותית. נמשיך, גם כאן במכון 9 מייצרים אורניום מועשר, תוך שימוש בלייזר, פטנט ישראלי ייחודי. מכון 10 מייצר את האורניום המדולל, מרכיב חשוב לייצור פגזים חודרי שריון. מכון 4 מטפל בפסולת הרדיואקטיבית של הכור לפני שתוטמן באדמה. וזה, בניין ארוך בין 2 קומות ללא חלונות, זה הסוד הגדול של דימונה, מכון 2. מתחת לשתי הקומות התמימות למראה, יש עוד 6 קומות שקבורות בעומק האדמה. וענונו הראה לעולם את מה ששום לוויין לא הצליח לראות עד היום, כאן הקימה ישראל מפעל להפרדת פלוטוניום שתכליתו אחת, לייצר פצצות אטום. בשנות ה-60 ביקרו פקחים אמריקנים בקומה הראשונה של המבנה, הם ראו את המסעדה והמשרדים, קיר מיוחד שנבנה שם, הסתיר מעיני